All right, so today we're going to be learning a little bit about colored pencils and blending them. Um, I've got a number of pencils here. These ones are the Blick Studio pencils, but you can also use the Prismacolor ones, the Prang ones if you want. Basically the difference between these and something like Crayola is that they have less wax in them and they have more pigment. So they show up a little bit brighter on your page. The one downside is that they are a little bit more breakable, so try and be kind of careful when you're using them. Don't like drum on them or drop them, because that will break the lead inside, and so then when other people try and sharpen their pencil, it's gonna like break. So I'm gonna show you some blending. So I've got this color here, and maybe to show off the blending a little bit better, we'll do like this blue color, maybe. And so the key to blending colored pencils is to be very patient, right? If I take it and I hold it like I'm holding a pen and I press really, really hard, I'm not gonna be able to blend that really at all. Like I can kind of like move my finger a little bit and get some blending there, but it would be more effective to do it in a different way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the stance, or the way that I hold my pencil. I'm gonna hold it so that more of the pencil tip is in contact with the paper, and I'm going to just go lightly like this. You don't really want to press down hard at all, really just enough so that you can get a good wash of color on your page. And it's fine if you're seeing the grain of the paper coming through. Eventually you won't really need to see that at all. So I'm just gonna kind of keep going with this, just making sure that each time I go around, I get a little bit more of the color on the page. I would actually suggest going over your colors maybe like 5 or 6 times before you even start doing the blending, just so that you have a really nice, like a large amount of pigment to work with when you're doing your blending. And we'll say 6. So that's looking pretty even here. I'm gonna leave part of it alone, and then I'm gonna go back into it with this blue color. Again, I'm not holding it like a pen. I'm holding it so that it's flat against the paper. And I'm just gonna start going really lightly into this color. I don't wanna press hard. If it's not showing up right away, that's fine, because you're gonna keep going over it. Like I said with the first one, we want to go over it up to 6 times, 5 or 6 times. So eventually you'll start seeing that it's changing over. And with colored pencils, the temptation really is to try and push down really hard to get your pigment right away. But you never want it to hurt while you're doing it, right? You don't, art shouldn't be painful for your hands. So just kind of go light, and eventually you'll be building stuff up. You can see that there's a little bit of a difference between this color and this one. And I'm gonna take the blue over here, and I'm just gonna do 5 or 6 passes on this color, so you can really see the difference between the 3 colors that have been made, or the 2 colors and then the one that was blended and made. One more. So you can see I've got this green, I have blue, and then I have this blue-green mix. Now what I can do is, if I really want to beef things up a little bit more, I can take this green and go back into it, right? I can add another pass. And again, I'm not really pressing down very hard, just enough to kind of get a nice layer, just a little bit of color down. And I'll take my blue again and just keep going back and forth into it. And again. There we go. So we've got a nice thing. We've got 3 colors here. What I might also do is do some opposite colors. So red and green are opposite, right? And so if I am trying to blend them, what I'm gonna do is get a neutral color. So that might even show the blending a little bit better than this one. So I'm just gonna go right into it, hold it so that it's pretty flat against the paper. Go back and forth. Okay, and then I'm going to take the green and I'm going to be overlapping these two colors. I'm almost going a little bit too far in the red, that's okay. I'm gonna go back in with the red. And then back in with the green. Oops. And basically what I want to do is just go back and forth with both of these colors, making sure that I continue to overlap them until I don't really see any of the grain left over in my paper. Might even change the direction to help me out a little bit. Okay, so this one's a little bit easier to see. We've got our red, we've got our green, and then we have the mixture here, which kind of has turned into like a really dark brownish green color here. This is a really good technique to use when you want to be blending different colors, especially if you want to do some, like, you want to do a portrait or something. You won't always just want it to be, you know, like a value scale or a color scale like what I'm doing here where everything isn't aligned. You might want to do something like, I'm just going to take some peach and some orange and some red. And I'm just going to lay a base of peach down really lightly. And actually I'm just going to draw really quickly like an eye or something in here, right? So real quick eye. I'm going to take the peach and kind of go over it like this. So I know that things are going to be a little bit darker, right? A little bit underneath the eye and a little bit over the eye. And then I also probably will have some pink colors in the cheeks here. So I have this color laid down, and if you remember from the beginning of the video, I really want to lay down a nice, like a good number of layers of this color. So I'm going to keep going over it a few times. Maybe I'll go in the opposite direction too. Okay, so now I'd like to start bringing some pink into this color. I'm gonna see if this red might be a good option. Otherwise, I might actually use the vermilion It's a little bit more of an orangey red, and try and start layering that into my skin here. So really, really lightly. Remember, you can always add more color, but you can't take color away once it's on your page. So I'm just gonna really lightly keep going over it. So you can start to see the changes. I'm gonna go the opposite direction, like so. And you can start to see that the colors are blending together to make something else, right? Because if I just draw really hard, that's what the color looks like straight out of the pen, or pencil. But since I'm blending them, I'm getting a really nice natural color on the skin here. So I've got kind of a nice blush. And maybe I'll make my person, they look tired, so I'm gonna add some like tired bruising a little bit underneath the eye. So I'm taking my purple and I'm just gonna really lightly go over that color there. And I think honestly it might be like a little bit too purple. So since I feel that way about the color, I am going to go back in with my base color, right, my peachy color, and I'm gonna need to sharpen it pretty soon. And I'm just gonna go over it to blend it back. Always keeping my fingers light, like so. And honestly, since I have this peach color out, I might just go over that red that I put in, just to kind of lock that in there and blend it in a bit more. Okay, and then I think I'm just gonna put in a little bit of brown just to give us more shadow right above the eye. Well, first I'm just gonna darken this lid a little bit. Okay, so if I put a shadow, say, I'm just gonna block it in here really quick. I'm gonna say that my shadow is right about here because my eyebrow is here. I've got it blocked in, and I'm gonna really lightly, since I'm getting more detailed, I'm just gonna hold it upright a little more, really lightly go into it like this. Making sure not to press down, making sure that I'm not hurting myself holding this colored pencil. And going up across. And maybe I have kind of a crease in the eye, so I'm gonna even darken it a bit more because it's practically a line, right? And then I'll blend out a bit more from there. Doing really light. And I need to use my base color again. I'm just gonna bring it back and blend it a little more. Just like so. So if there's nothing else that you take from it, just remember that when you are blending, you just want to continuously go very, very light with whatever you're doing, and layer, layer, layer. So if you're like, hey, do I have too many layers? The answer is no, you never have enough layers. And you know, go crazy. If you want to, take the sheet that you were using and color in some of the designs that you were sketching out, just to try and get some ideas. You know, take some interesting risks with the colors that you're using. Blend, right? I'm putting purple on top of brown. Blend colors that you wouldn't think would go together and see what happens when you do so. You know, I only layered 2 here, but why not? Why not layer 3 colors? Why not layer 4 colors and see what you get? you might end up with something that looks a little bit richer than what you expected. All right,